Hi everyone, and welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard, and if you remember this guy, the KelTec PMR 30, there's a companion that goes along with this, and I finally got my hands on the KelTec PMR 30. Pistol Magnum rimfire with a 30 round magazine. Let's check it out. Alright, we'll get the CMR 30 out of the way. And check out what's in the box here. KelTec plastic box, and inside of it is, of course, your KelTec stickers. Got to have those. An offer for the NRA, your owner's manual, the KelTec PMR 30. This is pistol Magnum rimfire. I hope that's not an expiration date. And it comes with a lock, a little plastic case there, or a little bag. It comes with a sight changing tool, and it actually comes with two extra the light pipes too. The white one will be for the front. The red one is it's to replace one of the back ones should you damage them or lose them or whatever. And it comes with two magazines. It is clear, nothing in it. Pretty neat looking gun, kind of an odd looking gun. The grip looks way too big for the barrel assembly, the upper part of it. But let's check out how this thing comes apart. Alright, disassembly of the PMR 30 is pretty much a breeze. Just make sure that the firearm is on safe. Your safety selector is ambidextrous. It's on the back there. Push it up, that covers up the red. And then what you're going to do is there's a pin right here. And it pushes out from one side. Just give it a little push to get it started a little bit. And then take the tip of a round and push on it. And you can grab a hold of the pin on this side and go ahead and pull it out. Then all you do is just take the upper and slide it right off the front. And that's it. I mean, it is taken apart pretty much. The only thing left to do, and this gets a little bit tricky in here. You have to grab the spring and pull it back and then lift it up. So you got to get it out of this, the barrel block assembly. So you got to grab it, pull it back. Once you got the tension off of it, then you can pull it forward. Now, you'll want to watch this little piece right here, this little plastic piece. It's got two little moon-shaped cutouts on it. The larger one goes down toward the barrel, and it's also shaped a little different, so it can only go in there one way. But once you got that out, you take your barrel block and your barrel and slide the barrel block all the way forward, and there's some little notches in there that are cut out in the slide, and there are tabs on the barrel block that fit right down in there, and then it goes back. Now this is a delayed blowback firearm, so what that does is 22 Magnum is kind of hard to do in a pistol because your bolt is normally really heavy to overcome the pressure to an extent, and your spring helps along with that. 22 Magnum has a lot of pressure in it, so what it's going to actually do is this delayed blowback design is going to give it a little more time for the bullet to get out of the end of the barrel before it cycles the action. So to take the barrel out, slide it back. You can take your finger underneath there and push it up a little bit, grab it and pull it out. Now you'll want to watch when you put this back in. This has a really kind of a minuscule feed ramp on it. You'll want to make sure that's in the right place. There's not really any markings on there, and it's almost square, so I mean it's rectangular, so you could accidentally get it in the wrong way. So make sure your feed ramp is in the right place, which on here with the slide upside down, your feed ramp is going to be up, which when it's on the gun, it'll be down towards the bottom toward the magazine. So to put it back together, all you do is slide your barrel right back in there. Make sure it drops down in there. Make sure your feed ramp is in the right place. And then pull it forward. Take your barrel block assembly, put it back on there. Slide that all the way to the rear. Take your little plastic moon clip piece here and put it down in there, and you'll see two little cutouts in the bottom there, which is where the tabs on this block go in there. So once you've got that in there, you'll take your recoil spring and guide rod, and you want the larger end. There's not much difference in the size on the ends there. There's a larger end, a smaller end. Your larger end is going to be towards the front of the pistol. So you'll put that in there, and I found the easiest way to get this back in there is to just take your thumb, put it across the top, pull back as you're pushing down, and it takes a little bit of pressure, but it pops right back in there. Your guide rod will want to come out of the end there a little bit, and then your thumb will force it down in there. It's a little rough on the thumb, but it goes in there pretty easy. I'm going to take it back apart again, make sure there's no barrel obstructions in there from the factory, and get it cleaned up, lubed up, and then we'll get this thing out on the range and give it a try. All right, reassembly is a piece of cake. Once you've got your recoil spring, guide rod, barrel block, and bolt back or barrel back in there, just take and slide it right back on the frame, the lower. It pops in there a little bit. Your hole should be lined up, and go ahead and push that pin right back in there until it is fully seated. You can function check it. Now, KelTec doesn't recommend dry firing this a lot, but you can do it occasionally to, you know, function check it. So there's no magazine in it, no ammo in it. I just reassembled it and pull trigger. It's a pretty light, kind of a short trigger pull on the thing. And reset. Reset is kind of long on there, but the trigger pull is really nice. Anyways, we're going to get this thing loaded up. Now, these are a 30 round magazine, and they are a double stack. Your first round is going to go in and go, you know, to one side only because it's shaped a certain way. Now, like the CMR 30, and don't do like I did in the first video and put the wrong ammo in it, but you will want to use 40 grain or heavier. Now, these are Federal 22 cal Win Magnum 50 grain jacketed hollow points. I think these are the ones I was running in the CMR 30, and they're either going to be 40 or 50, but we're going to go ahead and put the 50 grain Federals in there, and we'll start with 5 right now. And there's a little window in there where the opening is slightly wider, so we're going to get that rim of that somewhere between there and there. It won't go in if you have it all the way to the back. It won't go in if you have it too far forward. So you want to put it in there, push it down, and then push it back in there. You may need your thumb at the front there to push it in. Same thing, just keep on going and push them in, push them back. 30 rounds in the magazine take a little bit of effort to get in there, especially when you get down to the bottom. You get to the, you know, 25 through 30. But when you put 5 in there, give it a little tap. Make sure they're seated all the way to the back, because those rims, they need to be in line with each other. They need to be staggered like this. So you'll have, you know, each one is going to be under the next one. So it'll kind of step all the way down in there. You want to make sure they're in there right, because a lot of times if it's tough to get them in the wrong way, but it can be done, and that will cause you some problems. So just push them in, push them back in there. They load pretty easy, like I said, until you get to that 20th through the 30th round, and then they get a little tougher to get in. They do make a tool specifically for loading these magazines, and it might not be a bad idea to get one, especially if you're going to fire it a lot. It definitely makes it a lot easier to get them in there. Because like I said, when it gets down to 25 through 30, they get tough. In fact, I think I'm only going to put 25 in this magazine. All right, I only loaded 25 rounds in the magazine, and I've noticed with the CMR 30 that over time the magazines seem to get a little easier to load. When you get to that 20th round, they really start getting difficult to push down in there, and they start kind of binding up, it seems like, but over time they do loosen up. I've got a target up here at the 7 yard, and I got one at the 15 yard. We're going to go ahead and give it a couple shots at the 7 yards just to see if it's accurate, and we'll go from there. All right, there's 5 shots. We'll go ahead and put it on safe, and we'll go take a look at those real quick. All right, there's my 5-shot group there. That was my first one right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It really, at 7 yards, it's really pretty accurate, and those sights are so easy to see because they're fiber optics, and in the bright sunlight, they glow nicely. See if I can give you an idea of the sight picture of this thing. It's kind of tough to do this in front of the camera, but They do glow nicely. Now the sun is kind of behind the clouds a little bit right now, but when it comes out, they really light up. We'll go ahead and give it a couple shots. And like I said, this is hard to do from behind the camera. Take it off safe. Shot one of my pins. Put it back on safe. We're going to go ahead and take 5 shots at the 15-yard target. There was 10 in the 7-yard. Now the bore axis, or the distance between the sights and the bore, is pretty low, so really the difference between 7 yards and 10 yards shouldn't be that much. We'll give it a shot at the 15-yard center target and see how it does. Put it back on safe. We'll go look at that real quick. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Had this been a silhouette target, they'd be plenty in center mass right there. Of course, I was going for the center of it there. In 15 yards, the size of that front post on there, the fiber optic on the front, is pretty big, and it covers up a good portion of this target. Not a real accuracy type gun, not a target shooting gun anyways, but the first 15 rounds in it seemed to go flawless, and like I said, over time those magazines loosen up and it makes it a lot easier to load the full 30 rounds in there. Let's go ahead and do some rapid firing with this thing. All right, I should have 10 more rounds in there, so let's go ahead and dump them out on the 15-yard target. Slide holds open on the last round. The mag release on this, I do not like it. It's the same on the CMR 30. The magazines are interchangeable, but the magazine is on the heel right there, the mag release anyways. So you just push that in and pull it out. They fit in there kind of snug, so you're gonna have to pull it out pretty much. There's not enough weight in the magazine. They are all polymer, or I think they're Zytel. It's KelTec's version of plastic. They're pretty durable, they're tough, and they don't weigh anything, which is a problem when you want to drop a magazine. They just don't seem to drop anyways. So you've got to pull it out. We'll get the other magazine in there and take a few more shots with it. All right, we got the second magazine, 25 rounds in it. Go ahead and put it in there, give the slide a pull back, let it go. It chambers around, you should be good to go. Let's see what I had going on there. Did not chamber. All right, it did that time. Really, it's an easy gun to maneuver too. It's lightweight, so you can go from one target to the other pretty easily with it. That was it. That was 50 rounds of 22 Magnum, 50 grain jacketed hollow points, and really 22 Magnum has become one of my favorite rounds. They're a little more expensive than 22 long rifle, actually quite a bit more expensive than 22 long rifle, but they shoot great. They're good for long distances, especially if you've got a longer barrel. This has only got about a 3-inch barrel on it, I think, somewhere around there. It's a pretty short barrel in it. But it shoots great, it really does. This is the titanium S.C.A.R coated slide on this one, 90% plastic, I guess. The slide, the magazine, that's about all the metal there is in it. But it's a good shooting gun. I love the KelTec CMR 30, the carbine version of it, and this was an obvious choice. I had to get this to go along with it. All the magazines interchange, so if you take both of them out somewhere, you want to do some tactical shooting, as long as you load the right ammo in it, you got to be 40 grains or more. These were 50 grain, functioned just fine. I did have one failure to feed, and it looked like when I pulled the slide back that the round was kind of pushed down there a little bit. They're tricky to load. They've got to be loaded right for them to function properly. They've got to have the right ammo in them to function properly. And as long as you do that, I think you'll enjoy it. Now, like I said, I only put 25 rounds in each magazine because they're so hard to load, but they do loosen up over time, and it's just a great gun. Anyways, thanks for taking a look at the KelTec PMR 30 with me. I've already done a couple videos on the CMR 30, and as long as you follow the instructions, it functions just fine. If you could, hit this button up here to check out some of my other videos. Hit this button over here to subscribe if you haven't already. Check me out on Patreon and click on some of the links I've got in the description below to some different products I use that are on Amazon. Every little bit helps me out and helps me bring you more videos on a lot of different firearms. Thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review.